what can you say just about how your defense is playing?
Yeah, I mean, we played really good defense in the first half, minus those 3 threes. To give up that, we went back to almost back possessions. She got those shots off, and if you take those out, they scored 20 points with those. So that's 11 points and a half without those. And those were kind of mental breakdowns, I think, a little bit. They were miscommunications or whatever. Our team has done a really nice job of digesting the scout and trying to make players play to their weaknesses. That's always what we try to do, and sometimes we have differing effectiveness with that. I think some players in particular, I think Vonnie and Melody and Anna are really enforcing around the basket. I think they're doing a nice job. They had several blocks today. I always think they have more than they say they had, but it said they had 6 today. That's maybe pretty close. And, Abby, Sierra, Lynn's trying to keep them in front. They're all trying to keep their players in front of them, and so it's a good combination. We play team defense. We never want to leave our teammates out on an island, and I think for the most part this year we've done that. Certainly the last couple of games we've done a really good job of it. And so when we're helping each other out, it makes it easier to do your job knowing you have teammates beside you.
And then when the game really got tight there near the end, who did you see maybe from the bench that stood out as somebody who was really calm in that situation, somebody who had a good presence about them to go and help the game?
Yeah, I think that we probably had Abby and C out there, and they're both a 5th and 6th year player. They've played a lot of minutes in a lot of games. And so, Lenny's in her 2nd career start or 3rd career start. Vonnie's a sophomore. I think they were both out there too, alongside of Mel. But I would say that both Abby and Sierra offer a calming presence to us almost all the time. They very rarely get rattled or sped up. And I'm guessing it was probably those guys, but I was comfortable with all those players out there. It was a nice lineup of people who could make a play, who could get a stop, who were heady and smart and weren't going to do something silly at the wrong time.
This is your 2nd game in a row without Kaylee. How do you adjust, especially offensively? It looked like you guys maybe were a little not quite flowing as well.
Yeah, sometimes with Lynn and Lee, if you they're different people, different players, but they are similar, and they have similar experience. They've been here the same amount of time. They haven't started all the same amount of games. They played about the same amount of minutes. Expectation is the same. Skill set is the same. So I think that it's okay with how we start. Today we didn't start as well as we have been, but Bree just doesn't have the experience at the point guard position, and she's done a fine job. But so it's a lot more of let's think through it. Let's get the freshman in a position where she can be successful, and I think she has. I think as far as point guard wise, she's thinking a lot, so I think that's taken her out of being able to shoot it in the same way and those things. But it's just you have a little bit less depth. It always affects you, and I think our players, Lynn has certainly done a nice job. She won an MVP without her sister being out there on the floor, and I think Bree's done a good job as well, but it's just different. It's just different when you're playing in a different position. She had played up until this point like a total of 3 minutes at the point guard for us, and so she's getting a lot more experience with it. And so if it happens again, I think she's going to be prepared. I think the teammates are prepared. They know that they need to be more available, or it's helping us actually echo play calls because then that gets the team all on the same page differently than a true point guard can. So I think it's partially those things. You just lack of depth in all positions when that happens. Then we're going to other players earlier, so it kind of has a spiral effect.
Was it a close call at all with Kaylee to play today?
Yeah, I mean, if it was up to me, she would have played, but it's not. And so I think they're trying to just make sure that she's 100%. They don't want to put her at risk by getting her out there earlier than she should. So I'm hopeful that we're going to see her very soon.
I'm sure you heard the boos. Can you comment on that position? We have a lot of them tonight.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I said a lot of what I wanted to say about it last week, but I understand people are upset. I understand that not everybody understands why our team is, some of our team is kneeling for the anthem. And one of the things I didn't get to say last week is that we live in a free country, right, where there's freedom of speech. And so I can't be frustrated with people who are voicing their opinion in the same way that our players are voicing their opinion. I just wish that we could figure out a way to meet in the middle. I don't know. I don't know why the people are booing. Some of them have reached out and told me their reasons. Some of the people haven't, and I don't know if they know why our players are kneeling. They're kneeling, I can tell you, because of racism and discrimination that still exists. And a lot of the people who've reached out to me have said that they are not in approval because they think that the flag represents the military and the veterans. And to our team, that's not all, So again, I said the other day, we don't hate our country. We recognize that there are things that need to be improved. We love our military and our veterans. We know that they support us at our games. And we're just hopeful for those continued conversations. I'm having a lot of them. We're trying to find a way to help our players have a lot of them, and help the fans join in and be, open-minded to learn. The last thing I want to say about it, Jim, is that we talk a lot with our team about inclusion. And to our program, inclusion means celebrating our differences. Differences of race, differences of gender, all kinds of things. Opinion is one of those things. And then we try to ask our players to listen for understanding and ask the question of, tell me more about that. And so that's what we're doing within our program. And we're grateful for opportunities to do that with our community, because we feel like we have an important role in our community, and we're supported by our community well, and we want to continue that. And it's okay for us to have differences of opinions on things. I know that there's different religions, there's different political views, there's all kinds of things that are different. And we just want to find the best way we can to be cooperative with that, acknowledge the differences, and still find a way to get together and support things that we want to. With all of us, the common bond is basketball, and Gonzaga women's basketball specifically.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Just quick look ahead to Washington State next week. Any first thoughts?
They're good. Yeah, we're going to have to, if we could hold Washington State to under 50 points, then that's probably going to bode well for us. They really can score it. The sisters are good. The post players are good. Their other players are good. We're not that familiar with them, having had last year off. So our team hasn't actually played the Ledger Walkers, and our coaches are a little bit familiar with them. But we're going to have to play a little bit better offensively if we want to have the same outcome next week. Yeah.
How much does it help you guys' confidence, both as a team, to win this game, and you guys individually to be players to make those plays?
You can go first.
You go.
I of course Lee's out, so I have to step in that role, and I know I don't have to do everything and anything, because I'm so lucky to have teammates that can step up whenever I need them to. Sometimes we just do go on that little drought, and it does boost my confidence, because everyone in high school, they used to be their star player, so when we get here we learn the system, and once we learn the system, it kind of revolves around the system, and it's just not me. So just making that one spark play, it really does boost my confidence.
Kind of just adding off of Lenny, just getting in there and kind of being a beast, just kind of helps, we're smiling about it now, that's what we feel like in the game. We feel good about, scoring for our team and stuff like that, and just making sure that we're continuing to push and be aggressive on the offensive side of the game is just one thing that we want to strive at being better. Obviously this game wasn't as offensively impactful as we would like it to be, but even those little plays where we get the good shots, we're making plays, we're continuing to push forward even through that adversity that we face. Struggling offensively, that's what we still need every single game, and that's why we try to be consistent at.
Yeah, we were able to talk with Abby and Sierra before the season. They thought this team's identity would be on the defensive end, and you guys are off to a great start playing defense on, early in the season. How much is that, talked about in practice before games, and just really locking down on that end?
We definitely focus a lot on our defense, just making sure that we know exactly where we need to be on help side, or where we need to be when the ball's in this position on different plays versus the other team. That's something that we really strive to perfect ourselves in during practice as much as we can, just because we want to be as fully prepared, because as much as you can either score or not score, as long as you're not making the other team score, then you're all set. So definitely one of our identities that we want to keep on building on. But we make sure to take pride in our defense, because that's really what's going to win us these games, keeping these teams down to below 50.
Yeah. And like even if our shots isn't falling, our defense can bring that up, and then keeping Wyoming to under 50 and like great teams under 50, that's a win right there.
Yeah.
They had just cut it to 4, got the ball back, had a chance to cut it to a 1-possession game. But you guys, great defense. You guys can give them a shot, and you wound up forcing the jump ball. So talk about that possession.
Oh.
It wasn't just a blur. I mean, there was a lot of bodies flying around there.
Yeah.
You know, Coach Lisa always talks about communication, and I think our communication in this game was really, really good. Switching out on the shooters, especially like the staggers, we were struggling a little bit, but once we got that switch and then just that team defense, I think that really helped us. And I don't remember the exact play, but we had a lot of defensive stops.
Yeah, a lot of communication, and then I think just urgency from us, just recognizing like time and score, what we needed to do, what needed to get done is something that we all had in the back of our heads. Like, we really need to stop right here. Like, if you need to switch. If you can get through, talk as much as you can. Make sure you're not losing anybody. Like, let's get this defensive stop, get this steal, get this rebound, and let's just go.
Changing the subject a little bit, I'm sure you heard the boos during that. Could each of you talk a little bit about your perspective on this? I know, Katie Lynn, you stand during the anthem.
Yeah.
Can you
I
share
mean,
your feelings at all on that?
although I stand, I am like in full support, and I respect my teammates' decision. Like, I don't think our fans understand why they're kneeling, and I mean, I do. Everyone on the team does, because we did sit around and talk and tell each other, like, we told each other why we were doing what we were doing. I have my reasons, but it doesn't take away the fact that there is still discrimination and social injustices in this world that we do need to talk about. And I think it's just a misconception on, the idea of kneeling. And I mean, to add on to that, it's not about disrespecting the flag at all. I don't know how many people are gonna see this, but it's not. I can tell you now.
You're kneeling.
Yeah.
Obviously, and, what's your perspective on this?
On this, I feel definitely a lot of misunderstanding that comes from us. I feel like as a team, we also need to make sure that our actions and our voices are being heard properly, and we're saying what we want other people to hear, like we want to bring awareness, bring light into issues that still revolve in our society, in different communities all around the world, and just make sure people still have that conversation. I know it's hard because it's a time during the national anthem, and obviously I completely understand that people feel so much pride from their flag, as they should, obviously, but this is definitely a time that people are looking at us, people are talking about us, people are trying to listen to us, so we need to continue to push and, show what we want to be heard and continue to make sure that people understand. I feel like that's one thing that maybe our booing probably comes from. For me, I completely understand their misunderstanding. I feel like I want to be able to voice what I want to say more so that I can make sure they understand, just so that as long as understanding's on the table, then we can talk about anything that we need to clear up, But for our team, we obviously know why we're all kneeling, and we just want to make sure that we're continue putting our foot on that gas pedal, because the moment you release is the moment, people continue to be, just undervalued, in society, and nobody wants that. We all have the right to be human, and that's what we want to do. We want to make sure people have respect, people are treated fairly, people are treated, with justice, and that's what they deserve. So us kneeling is making sure that we continue that conversation so people know that's what we want. We want people to be respected and valued in all societies around the world, and we'll continue doing that as much as we have to, through our actions and our words, and just making sure that people understand that message.
More of an international message in some ways for you?
Yeah. Internationally, I feel like, a lot of what happened last year, was really focused in America, but that doesn't take away that happens in places like Canada, Australia, in Europe, anywhere else around the world. We need to make sure that, you know, not just people in America are like feeling like they're safe or treated fairly. We need to make sure all people are treated fairly. So that's one thing that I try to take internationally, is like, I want my community in Canada to feel like they're respected, they're valued, they're treated fairly, you know? It's not just about the people in Gonzaga or the people in Spokane. It's about all people, because we all deserve that respect and value.
Thank you.